Seattle to Denver, where I met up with Jeff. We got home, worked on my motorcycle in the garage for a while, and then we went on several short trips. One to Central City, where we tried to earn our fortune. Then we went out for Cajun food in this little restaurant, and it was absolutely delicious, including the swamp soup, which we all sampled. It was awesome. Then we took our bikes and went up to a graveyard, and we went to the Knights of Pythias. These are located all over the United States. We went to this one and enjoyed ourselves. Then we went over to Coors and took a tour of the Coors facility. Jeff got me on a VIP tour, and we learned about all the beers that Coors made and the actual making of beer and what the process was. Saw the packaging facility, and then after that we went to the little bar to get some samples of beer, and then we went to Grammy's for lunch. Had a delicious lunch, and then we all got on our bikes again and went home. The next day, on Friday, we met up with Aaron and Kathy Zimmer, and we went to the bar, the employee bar at Coors. After some drinks, we went over to their trailer and had some brats. It was a great evening, and we really enjoyed it. The next morning, Jeff and I went to the Cussler Museum, where Clive Cussler has a real huge collection of automobiles that he wrote about in many of his books. Some of the autos had a book in front of it, like this one, where the actual story was told by Clive Cussler. Then we went to the Denver Beer Company for lunch. That night, Lydia came over and had some pizza with us. It was cooked on Jeff's Traeger, and it was a great time, very delicious. Then we all kind of took a group picture, and the next morning, Jeff and I struck out on our own, on our adventure on our motorcycles, on no plan, no route, just follow the white line, and we had a ball. So we're at Decker's, and we just stopped to take a little rest, and it's been really a pretty ride, especially along the river. We're on Route 67 in Colorado. Our next stop was the top of Pikes Peak, 156 turns and an elevation gain up to 14,115 feet. Spent some time up there talking to people, taking some pictures, and then headed back down. And we managed to make it all the way up on our bikes. A little curvy, a little twisty, but it was fun.
Especially for late in the afternoon. That's how we came. 26, is it? 6, 7.
Nothing like a bike ride in Colorado in September. No gold trees? So after 156 enjoyable turns and lots of fun coming down off Pikes Peak Mountain, we decided, or we didn't decide, they decided to check our brakes. And since motorcycles have pretty good brakes, Jeff and I decided, we don't need our brakes checked. And we would sort of went around the brake check station. So we got back out to the entry gate to Pikes Peak, where we had to each pay our fee to get up the mountain, and decided to go over to Highway 24 and go over to Cripple Creek for the night. Let's see how that turns out. On our way to Cripple Creek, we stopped by the Teresa Mine. It was an old gold mine developed in the late 1800s. Got to crawl around it, some of the machinery that made it up, and it was pretty interesting to look at. After we looked at the mine and crawled around the buildings, we went over and saw Rita the Rock Planter. It's a sculpture that are all over the world, and they're made entirely from recycled materials. So that was very interesting. We hadn't seen anything like that before. We then went on to Cripple Creek and stayed at the Brass Ass Hotel and Casino. Wasn't too bad. We had some dinner, and then after dinner, we tried our luck at the gambling. Slot machines, that is. Well, Jeff did okay, I did okay, but that's not how we're going to earn our living, that's for sure. The next morning, we headed over to Canyon City via Skyline Drive. Here's a description per the map. This unique path of pavement is nicely tucked away on the outskirts of Canyon City. The road precariously follows an 800-foot ridge winding along the crest of the Dakota Hogback. In many locations, the ridge is no wider than the road, and riders experience sheer exposure drops on either side. The road seems to disappear and drop off to nowhere, providing a hair-raising experience. Yes, it is one way, and the road's open all year, except when the weather's crappy. Was Skyline Drive scary? Yes, a little bit. A little apprehensive going over those crests, but Jeff said he and Ryan have done rides like this on just dirt. I'm not sure I'd want to do it on dirt, where you've got sheer cliffs on the left and on the right. Once we were down off the ridge and back on somewhat normal roads, Jeff and I went over to Rye, Colorado to visit the Bishop Castle. After our ride over Skyline Drive, we decided to stop for breakfast at Mug's Coffee. I had pancakes, kind of beat up looking pancake, and Jeff had, I'm not sure what Jeff had. Anyway, after that, we went on to Rye, Colorado to go visit Bishop's Castle. Got to get her picture. No, I just need to say here we are at Bishop's Castle, and not sure I want to climb to the top, but we'll see. So before you enter Bishop's Castle, it's private property, and there's a sign there that says we are not responsible for your physical, mental, or emotional well-being. There was a lot of warnings in that sign, but you kind of entered at your own risk. If you were gutsy enough to go, they didn't care, but you better be prepared. Bishop's Castle is a Colorado landmark built almost entirely by one man, Jim Bishop, over 44 years, starting in 1969 as a stone cottage and evolving into a castle after it was inspired by its castle-like resemblance. The project was a lifelong dedication for Bishop, who gathered stones from his property, incorporating ironwork and stained glass, and became popular roadside attraction with no admission fee. The castle features 3 stories of interior rooms, soaring towers, and a fire-breathing dragon, all offering views of the San Juan National Forest. So Bishop Castle is a home-built piece of whatever, and it's not real comfortable to navigate this. Our bikes are parked across the highway. Jeff has headed up to the top, but I think I am not going. Not sure why I came up here, but it's not all. We came up these stairs right here. Picture of a picture. So at this point, Jeff decides he's going to climb all the way to the top of Bishop's Castle, which I wouldn't do. But he said Ryan did it, so I guess he was going to follow in Ryan's footsteps and go ahead and brave it. He took some pictures along the way of some of the construction, somewhat questionable, but he got some good views and finally came back down, and we got back on our motorcycles. There they are down there by the side of the road. Jeff is somewhere up in the spires, and I hope he makes it. So this is the down stairway. Jeff and I came up the stairs. I'm going to go back down because I'm just not comfortable on this, whatever this is. The Bishop Castle ricketiness. Feels rickety. Maybe it's not rickety. But it just does not feel comfortable, if you know what I mean. Just before we left, we met a fellow biker going solo around the U.S. He was from New Paltz, New York, which was right outside of Kingston, where I grew up. We had an interesting conversation and wished us all luck as we continued on our journeys, he around the U.S. and us down to New Mexico. After we left Bishop Castle, we headed south and stopped for the night in Cachera, Colorado. The bed and breakfast was located on the Cachera River and run by Gayleen. She did a wonderful job giving us breakfast and a very comfortable place to stay for the night. Host at the B&B.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm gonna go do some fishing while I'm back.
Jeff's gonna go fishing.
Go fish.
Hi, Riley.
Walt, nice to meet you.
Yeah, Jeff and Bruce, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Walt and Francis.
Awesome, you guys have been hiking.
Yeah.
This is Gayleen, our host at the B&B. She's awesome. She's gonna cook breakfast and make hot black coffee in the morning.
Absolutely.
And then there's Riley that I already filmed. So I'm looking forward to a nice night tonight.
I love it. You're gonna hear the river. So good.
Sweet.
Open the windows.
I will. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
This
welcome.
is inside our bed and breakfast at the Cachera B&B on the river. It was very clean, very nice. Gayleen did a wonderful job of taking care of us and making sure we were comfortable and everything was good. There's a shower on the upper deck, and then there's a toilet and sink on the other side. And then if you continue on down the stairs, there's Jeff's room down here. There's a small deck out on the outside that overlooks the river. It's just a beautiful bed and breakfast. You can't go wrong staying with Gayleen at this B&B. Then Jeff got in some catch and release fishing along the Cachera River. It was really beautiful. Then after fishing, we walked up to the Cachera Yacht Club, and sitting at the bar, we had an interesting conversation with the barkeepers and had a great dinner. I had BLT, and Jeff had a hamburger. Well, morning everybody. Jeff's still up there getting ready. We're up at the top of the landing there. And I came down to start another day of motorcycling and having a blast with my son. So this has just been the best trip ever. He even caught a couple fish last night. Catch and release, of course. So I got instructions last night on how to come over here and get the coffee started. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I think it says brew here. I think. There we go. I think I got it. We're going to say I got it. Hopefully I got it. But it is another gorgeous Colorado day. Later. As promised, the next morning, Gayleen made us a delicious breakfast with egg and cheese burritos. They were wonderful. She's a terrific cook, and I can't speak highly enough of her bed and breakfast. Take my little windshield here. I have a Hellfire windshield. And I probably need to get a new catch record card because I have a lot of bugs on my windshield. I guess he's the welcome man. We are off to have 2 more nights out on the road, just have fun and just enjoy ourselves motorcycling. So here we go. Once we left the Kachira bed and breakfast, we headed north along Highway 12 through the San Isabel National Forest, back to Lavetta. At Lavetta, we joined up with Highway 160 and turned west towards the Lavetta Pass, which is 9,413 feet. Along the way, we found some interesting cloud formations where the clouds just hung over the mountains early in the morning. It was very pretty. Then we went into Costella County and down to Fort Garland. At Fort Garland, we turned south and headed down towards San Luis. We stopped at St. Louis for some coffee and discovered a couple of interesting things. One was San Luis is the oldest town in Colorado. And 2, there's a art sculpturist there that we met and had an interesting time touring his shop and going to see a lot of his brass statues. More about that later. And as typical of a summer ride, we ran into some road construction. But it was pretty easily navigated, and we made it through successfully to our next set of construction. So after we got done with the construction, we continued on down to New Mexico. For those of you who don't know it, San Luis, Colorado is the oldest city in Colorado. Jeff and I stopped there for coffee and ran into the proprietor of the coffee shop.
Thanks for the coffee.
So here we are in San Luis
My wife and I spent
Coffee
a little time
Company.
in Europe. I got-
Met Dave, the owner of the coffee company. Hey Dave.
Nice to meet
And
Roberto.
Uberto.
Yeah, local
Yeah.
sculptor.
And we're going to go see his,
And questionable in his mindset.
aren't we all?
You're right.
In town.
In town.
Yeah.
He was doing at least 100. About a half mile back, state patrol goes flying right behind him.
So we're about to go into a sculpturing shop.
A lot of what?
And myself.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're sculpting in plaster to start?
No, I sculpted in the clay, kind of like that.
Okay. And
Those are
then
body parts.
form around the clay.
Form around the clay. I make a rubber mold.
Uh-huh.
That one that's outside is I just have it warming up so I could pour a replica in wax. like here.
Right. Okay.
And then the waxes, I then put a plumbing system, negate them,
Yeah.
and that allows me to pour bronze into this piece.
Wow. That's cool.
And then we melt the wax out. And
So the bronze itself melts the wax away?
actually, no. We have a furnace outside to melt the wax out. If you did that, we'd be doners. We'd be doners.
Because
Yeah.
it
It
would.
would just explode.
Oh, okay.
So here's some rough casting. This is a base. Now these are raw. They haven't been worked on much.
And they're bronze.
These are bronze. We had a little bit of head failure on this one, so we had to build the hat.
So you'll use them still. You'll just rebuild it.
Yeah. Weld the arms on and everything. He's holding a tarp.
Can I see how heavy it is? Oh, yeah.
Is he very heavy?
Yeah. Let's go.
It's about 30 pounds. So,
Cool.
and here's the other piece that goes with it. It's a younger man.
Where are these pieces headed?
This one's got a home already that it's going to, but I'm doing a couple of other copies. One of them I'm actually going to do life size or bigger for a local water company.
So people contract you to do stuff?
I do work all over the country.
Wow.
Like the next piece I'm doing is going to Seattle. I just got back from installing a piece in Seattle, but they have me doing another one, so I'm doing another.
Yeah, I'm about 100 miles north of Seattle. Seattle's a lot of traffic. You don't want to go through.
Oh yeah, totally.
So this is some of the mold that's left.
Behind Gilberto's studio was a hill, and up on the hill was a chapel. And Gilberto told us that we walked up the path of the chapel, we could see the 12 stanchions or stations of Christ's crucifixion on the cross. Jeff and I made that hike, and we really was very awe-inspiring to see what Gilberto had done with brass along the path. We spent some more time up there hiking around on top of the mountain and looking at the chapel before we headed down the hill. On the way down, we could see Gilberto's studio. We're coming back into town. Well, this is a Benny. Our motorcycles are still there. We got back on our bikes and headed south on Highway 522 down into New Mexico. Spent the night in Taos, New Mexico. South along Highway 522 down into New Mexico, where we rode around the Enchanted Loop. After arriving in Taos, we went in and got registered at a bed and breakfast called the Casa Benitez Inn. It was really a great place to stay. Afterwards, we went to the Taos Mesa Brewing Company and had some dinner and some good conversation. After that, we kind of toured around town a little bit and looked at the sights. And what did we stumble upon? Statues made by Gilberto from where we'd seen him in Okay, here's our bed and breakfast that we stayed at last night in Taos, and we're about to get up, suit up, and get on our bikes and continue on. Once we finished breakfast, got suited up, got our bikes ready to go, we headed out of Taos and went north up to where the Rio Grande is, and there's a bridge going across it. It's kind of fun going across that bridge on bikes. You know, that would have been a good place to do a safety wheelie.
Yeah, if I was any good at them, I'd ride it all the way across the bridge. I don't know. So let's see, maybe we don't have to walk all the way. Let's see what our view's like.
Okay.
Yeah, we better walk out there.
What'd you say, we what?
So we better auto walk out to one of those little decks that stick out.
Yeah,
It's fun.
I agree. Rio Grande down here. Royal Gorge, or Gorge. Not bad. Want to hike down there? Can I take a video of your selfie?
Done.
Done. I like it. Pretty cool. I wonder if you could ride your motorcycle down there, Jeff.
I couldn't. Not this one. And then there's a cliff.
Ooh, little vibration.
How long you been working on it?
This is, I don't know what it's called, but it's really cool. San Luis, Colorado. Then we went over and looked at the Veterans Memorial that he had also made, and it was pretty neat to see some sculptures from somebody we'd already toured his studio of. Of course, the next day before we struck out, we had a Mexican quiche for breakfast. We stopped, took some pictures, and then headed north again to go up to Gunnison to spend our last night. Okay, here we are on our last day, getting ready to leave the office and take off. Huh?
Take off.
Take off.
Take off those head panties.
Take off those head panties. After viewing the little Grand Canyon, we entered back into Colorado on Highway 285 going north. Then we stopped at Antonito, Colorado, where we viewed Cantos Castle. The part on the left burned down in January of 22, but it left the castle untouched. So it was pretty interesting to go tour around that thing, and it was all made out of hubcaps and scrap materials, and kind of reminded me a little bit of Bishop's Castle, but Bishop's Castle is a little bit more stonework and ironwork than this one. After we left the castle, we headed out and started up Route 114 over the North Pass, which is 10,149 feet. Along the way, we got to see the aspens as they were starting their early turn in autumn. It was really pretty, and we really enjoyed our ride. A few twisties and just not much traffic, but just very enjoyable on our way to Gunnison.
Walking up, step by step, feel the wind, take a breath. Rocks and trees, sky so wide. On this path, I take my ride. Mountain high, I'm climbing slow, through the rain, through the snow. Step by step, I won't back down. At the top, I see the town. Morning sun, golden light, eagle flies, such a sight. Water flows, rivers sing. In the air, I feel the spring. Mountain high, I'm climbing slow, through the rain, through the snow. Step by step, I won't back down. At the top, I see the town. One more step, almost there. Breathe it in, mountain air. Sky so blue, world so bright. On this mountain, feels so right. Mountain high, I'm climbing slow, through the rain, through the snow. Step by step, I won't back down. At the top, I see the town.
So after we entered Gunnison, we stopped at City Market for fuel up the little Honda, and then we went over to Walmart to get a couple items, and then up Highway 135 to Almont, Colorado, where we had our bed and breakfast alongside the Taylor River. Once we got checked in at Harmel's Resort, we got our stuff put away, went and had some dinner, and then Jeff went fishing. He went fly fishing on the river. He had to have a permit to do it, but it was good. Got his pants a little wet, and he did actually catch a fish. Caught several fish. Anyway, it was a really fun time. The next morning we got up, went and had some breakfast, and that again was right on the river. Once we left our bed and breakfast camping area, or resort area is more like it, we headed up Cottonwood Pass. And Cottonwood Pass is a little over 12,000 feet high. Not quite as high as Pikes Peak, but it was still a little chilly and pretty high. But it was a beautiful ride. finally made it to the top of Cottonwood Pass, the last pass of our trip. It was a great time. We had some interesting conversation with some people up there and got a few pictures and then headed back to Denver.